ordinary meeting of Wednesday 26th of August 2020 at 9:13 a.m. and I'll just adjourn the meeting for more papers. Okay, we'll start up the meeting again. We'll resume. And do we have anyone to confirm the ordinary meeting of the 12th of August? Councillor O'Neill.
I'll move the confirmation of the minutes from the 12th of August with the slight change that I let Kelly know about this morning. And that slight change just refers to a vote on page on page 15, which is item 13.2. The vote was 7-1, but there is 8 people in favour of the motion. Councillor Hancock shouldn't have been included. On that basis, Mayor, as I said, I'm happy to move the confirmation of the minute.
So what was that number again?
13.2.
13.2. Okay. So, Councillor Hancock, you were out of the room, were you?
Yes, I had a conflict on that.
Yeah.
That was the newspaper one.
Yep. Okay, we have a seconder. Councillor McMahon. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. Any other minutes that need confirming?
There's 3 that were laid on the table from the previous meeting.
Do we have anyone to deal with those minutes? Councillor O'Neill.
I'll move the minutes of the budget submissions and financial planning standing committee held on the 29th of July 2020 be amended as proposed and confirmed.
We have a seconder. Councillor McMullen. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak to it? We'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. Do we only have any further minutes that need dealing with?
It's in the agenda, page 64, 5.2.
Yeah, 5.2, confirmation of budget submissions and financial standing committee minutes. 5th of August, do we have anyone to move on those? Councillor Mullen.
Mr Mayor, I'll move that the minutes of the budget submission and financial planning held on 5th of August 2020 be confirmed.
I'll just add the word standing committee in there.
Okay.
You're okay with that?
Yeah, not a problem.
We have a seconder. Councillor Edwards. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. Confirmation of minutes on the budget submissions and financial standing committee minutes of the 11th of August 2020. Do we have anyone to move on those? Councillor Edwards.
I'll move that the minutes of the budget submissions and financial planning meeting standing committee held on 11th of August 2020 be confirmed.
Sorry, financial planning standing committee meeting.
I'll move that the minutes of the budget submissions and financial I'll move that the minutes of the budget submissions and financial planning standing committee meeting held on 11th of August 2020 be confirmed.
We have a seconder. Councillor Burkett. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0.
Special one.
Okay. Special meeting minutes. So, we have a special meeting. Does anyone would like to move on a special meeting held on the 19th of August 2020? Councillor Burkett.
I'll move that the minutes of the special meeting held on the 19th of August 2020 be confirmed.
We have a seconder. Councillor Taylor. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. Okay, declarations of conflict of interest. Do we have any conflicts of interest? Councillor Ladbrook.
I, Councillor Ladbrook, declare that I have a conflict of interest defined by the Local Government Act 2009, Section 175D and E for the agenda item LC8 with the subject heading User Agreement Bassett Park Facility, because I am a committee member of the Roman Turf Club, and I will be dealing with this matter by leaving the room while the matter is being discussed and voted on. And then number 2, I, Councillor Ladbrook, declare that I have a conflict of interest with the defined Local Government Act 2009, Section 175D and E of agenda item 12.1 with the subject heading Building Our Region's Funding for Bassett's Park Racing Stables, because I am a committee member of the Roman Turf Club, and I will be dealing with this matter by leaving the room while this matter is being discussed and voted upon.
Okay, any other conflicts? Councillor Guthrie.
I, Councillor Julie Guthrie, declare that I have a perceived material personal interest as defined by the Local Government Act of 2009, Section 175B for agenda item C17.
Excuse me, Councillor Guthrie, is it just a perceived conflict of interest?
We just need to correct that because it's contradictory. Perceived conflict.
Yeah, not material.
But it's not. It's a material personal interest.
It's not because it's not.
You can't have a perceived MPI.
What about if my daughter-in-law is employed, so receiving a wage? That's material, according to the...
But then it's not a perceived, it would be an MPI.
Well, you've just got to decide whichever way you want to go.
I might just go material personal interest. I'll start again, Brittany. I, Councillor Julie Guthrie, declare that I have a material personal interest.
You need to change forms, Councillor Guthrie, to become MPI for the sections. Oh, okay.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Okay, yeah.
Put the one extra word in there.
So in the second time, I'm not using it. As defined by the Local Government Act of 2009, Section 175B for agenda item C17, with the subject heading Funding Agreement between the Australian Veterinary Association and the Maranoa Regional Council for the delivery of the annual Pet and People Education Program in 2020-2021. The name of the person who stands to gain a benefit or suffer a loss, either directly or indirectly, depending on the outcome of the consideration of the matter of this meeting, is my daughter-in-law, Abigail Guthrie. The nature of my relationship is the daughter-in-law. She is employed at a local veterinary surgery, so may stand to gain a benefit or suffer a loss, depending directly or indirectly, depending on the outcome of the Council's consideration of this matter. And in accordance with Section 175C2B of the Local Government Act of 2009, I will leave the room while the matter is discussed and voted on.
Okay. Councillor Taylor.
I, Councillor Wendy Taylor, declare that I have a conflict of interest as defined by the Local Government Act 2009, Section 175D and E for agenda item LC1 with the subject heading Roma Sale Yards operation. The person interest arises because of my relationship with another person. The name of the person is Kylie Taylor. The nature of my relationship with this person is water. The nature of the other person's interest in the matter is Kylie works for the contractor AAM. I will be dealing with this matter by leaving the room when the matter is discussed and voted upon.
Okay. Well, would like to declare, I, Councillor Tyson Gold, declare that I have a conflict of interest or a conflict of interest. I'll declare that I have a perceived conflict of interest as defined by the Local Government Act 2009, Section 175D and E for agenda item LC9 with the subject heading Update on Flood Mitigation Matter. The personal interest arises because my relationship, the personal interest arises because of the name of the person is my mother, who has had a flood mitigation compensation agreement signed back before I was on council, and I will be dealing with this matter by leaving the room while the matter is discussed and voted on. Do we have any other conflicts? I don't think it was just. I'm happy to put in there and the agreement. I'll read this part again. My mother had a flood mitigation compensation agreement signed back before I was on council, and matters were concluded whilst I was on council, with me declaring a conflict each time and leaving the room. Okay, do we have any other conflicts?
Did you have any more, Mr. Mayor?
Pardon?
Did you have another one?
I think there's only one. No, not this week. Yeah. Any other conflicts? Okay, Councillor Hancock.
I, Councillor Joanne Hancock, declare that I have a perceived conflict of interest as defined by the Local Government Act 2009, Section 175D and E for the agenda item 13.4 with the subject heading Successful Application for Community Drought Support. The personal interest arises because of my relationship with another person. The name of the other person is Stephen Hancock. The nature of my relationship with this person is brother-in-law. The nature of the other person's interest in the matter is Stephen is the president of the Mitchell Show Society, who is named in the report. I have determined that this personal interest is not of sufficient significance that it will lead me to making a decision on the matter that is contrary to the public interest. I will best perform my responsibility of serving the overall public interest of the whole of the council area by participating in the discussion and voting on the matter. However, I acknowledge that the remaining councillors must now determine, pursuant to Section 175E4 of the Local Government Act 2009, A, whether I have a real conflict of interest in this matter or a perceived conflict of interest in this matter, and B, if so, whether 1, I must leave the meeting while this matter is discussed or voted on, or 2, I may participate in the meeting in relation to the matter, including by voting on the matter.
Okay, so do we have anyone to move on that?
Which one?
Give it to them. Oh.
I don't know if I can tell you.
This is the Zalia, the showground.
This is the Mitchell Show Society. It's listed as one of the beneficiaries.
I'll move that Councillor Hancock has a perceived conflict of interest in this matter, notwithstanding the conflict, Councillor Hancock may participate in the matter, discuss and vote upon it.
Do you have a seconder? Councillor Taylor. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? I'm going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0. Any other conflicts?
So, I, Councillor Cameron O'Neill, declare that I have received conflict of interest as defined by the Local Government Act 2009, Section 175D and E for agenda item 13.1, with the subject heading request to extend the currency period of development approval reference 2016/19470. The conflict is because I'm the Vice President of the Liberal National Party. The name of the person is, where the conflict may arise, is JJ Richards. The nature of the interest is JJ Richards have been involved in this matter and who have previously donated to the LNP, of which I am aware of and have in the past declared a conflict. I'll be dealing with this matter by leaving the room while the matter is discussed and voted upon.
Okay, any other conflicts?
Yes, I do. I, Councillor Cameron O'Neill, declare that I have a conflict of interest as defined by the Local Government Act 2009, Section 175D and E for agenda item LC1, with the subject heading Roma Sayard's operation. The name of the person is Lainey O'Neill. The nature of the relationship, she is my wife. Lainey's interest in this matter is that she works for the Queensland Livestock and Rural Transporters Association, which have written to Council on this matter. I will be dealing with this matter by leaving the room while the matter is discussed and voted upon.
Okay, any other conflicts, Council? Okay, we'll move on to the agenda. Page 96, 11.1 investment report as at 31st of July 2020. We have a mover. Councillor Hancock.
I'll move that the investment report as at 31st July 2020 be received and noted.
We have a seconder. Councillor Edwards. Any opposition? Oh, you didn't do that? No, sorry. Well, we've got a seconder, Councillor Burkett. Does anyone, any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak to it? We'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. Page 126, item 12.1, building our region's funding for Bassett Park Racing Stables, Big Rig, oil and gas energy expansion milestone requirements in accordance with executive project funding schedules.
Possibly yes.
That's the one.
So, Councillor Ladbrokes leaving the room. We have a mover.
Sorry, Councillor. We probably should have the words draft budget. Director Shane.
Well, Councillor O'Neill, when you're ready, if you're happy with that.
Budget 2021, which is scheduled for adoption on the 2nd of September. So that
I'm happy to move that Council provide a letter to the Building Our Regions program to 1, advise Council is committed to delivering the approved project, 2, confirm the financial contribution from Council for the Big Rig Oil, Gas and Energy Centre expansion has been included in the draft budget 2021, which is scheduled for adoption on the 2nd of September 2020. 3, acknowledge Council's responsibility for any funding shortfall for approved projects if costs or other contributors change.
Okay, do we have a seconder for that? Councillor McMullen, any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak to it?
just to say, Mr Mayor, that I mean, a lot has been discussed in this room around the Big Rig Oil, Gas and Energy Centre expansion. I won't go to add to that conversation and contribution because enough has been contributed here. But in terms of the Bassett Park Racing Stables expansion, I think this is a positive step for Bassett Park. It falls in line again with another project that has been part of the Bassett Park Master Plan that was undertaken 2 terms ago now, and I'm really pleased to see that it's progressing. And also want to acknowledge the Roma Turf Club in this particular project, who are contributing some resources, financial resources from their own entity, and I think that's important to illustrate that there is a number of funding partners, as well as the Building Our Regions, which is the significant contributor. And on behalf of Council, I want to thank the State Government for this contribution to Bassett Park.
Does anyone else wish to speak to this or against? We'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0.
I'll get him, Cam. I've got an interest on this next one. I'll get it forward. There we go.
Okay, page 131. Item 13.1, request to extend the currency period of development approval reference 2016/19470. Do we have any questions, council? I've just got one question. This is straightforward, just for the extension.
Through you, Mr Mayor, it is a 4-year extension to the currency period for the approval, so it won't have any effect on what the development is, how it operates, or the conditions. That will all remain the same. It's just more time for the applicant to be able to undertake the development.
Mr Mayor, the submitters, have they got anything to do with this?
Through you, Mr Mayor, the submitters aren't consulted through a request to extend an application process. Their submissions were considered as part of the original assessment, and there were conditions imposed to address those.
There's no need to discuss with the community, with the broader community at all.
Generally, that's what we have through the original development assessment.
Right.
No other questions? Do we have a mover? Councillor Burkett.
I move that the Council approve the application to extend the currency period of negotiated decision notice 2016/19470 by an additional 4 years, and 2, give a decision notice to the applicant approving the extension application, and 3, give a copy of the decision notice to the Department of State Development, Manufacturing, Infrastructure and Planning.
We have a seconder. Councillor Guthrie. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0. Item 13.2, Get Ready Queensland Funding COVID-19 Business Continuity Planning Workshops. Do we have any questions, councillors? Yep, Councillor.
Sorry, through you, Mr. Rob, was there a time on this, on what time of day? Has it been set there?
Not
yet. Just thinking if they're working, it'd have to be after hours, wouldn't it? If you
We've had a discussion with the three mayors, the COVID task force, it's something that's come up in the task force we've set up. And one of the things that came out of that, the phone survey that we did, was about what we wanted to know a little bit more about the restrictions on businesses through the COVID period. So with that funding, that Get Ready funding, it's one we apply for every year. It's generally about $11,000 to $12,000. We've spoken to the department, it actually fits the guidelines nicely. So yeah, through the task force, they'll work at the time, do the consultation work, it will be up there.
Yeah, you would assume, wouldn't you?
Okay, do we have a mover? Councillor Edwards.
I'd like to move that council approve the revised plan of activities to incorporate upcoming COVID-19 business continuity planning workshops for local businesses in the Maranoa region.
We have a seconder, Councillor Ladbrook. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? So, Councillor McMullen, you're in favour?
Yeah, I had my hand up, might have been quick pulling it down, but I did put it down.
Yep, right. No problem, 9-0. Okay, page 195. .3 renewal of membership, Toowoomba and Surat Basin Enterprise Pty Ltd.
That's probably
Sure.
Just on that point, 2, Deb's had a chat with Tisby there just regarding point 2 and that recommendation there. Tisby sort of wanted to relook at that again, so we would actually be recommending that we go at points 1 and 3 and then a further report to be brought back on option 2. So just renewing our membership at this stage. They've had a few changes in their administration there in their staffs.
Right. Councillor O'Neill.
I'll move that council approves the renewal and payment for a platinum level sponsorship of Toowoomba Surat Basin Enterprise for 2020-21 by way of payment in the sum of $22,000 inclusive of GST as described in the renewal notice, and 2, authorise council CEO to sign the partnership agreement.
So you've just moved on 1 at 22,000, is that correct?
I'll second that, Mr. Mayor.
Righto.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, do we need to put in the resolution about a report being brought back? Or will that just happen? Okay.
Okay, well, Councillor O'Neill moved. What's on the screen, is that correct?
Yes, that's what I have moved, yes.
Yep. We have a seconder for that motion, Councillor McMullen. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak to it?
I'd just like to ask a question.
Sure, please.
I just wondered what, we do this every year, is that correct? With these guys? What did we get out of them last year? Like, what's...
So, I don't know if you recall there, we actually had Tisby there come and do a presentation there a few weeks ago there. That was, the last 12 months was the mentoring small businesses. I just can't list them off the top of my head, but they did list the number of businesses that they work with. I think Maranoa being one, helping them, running workshops across the region. So, there is additional services they can do with us there too. They gave us some examples of what they've been doing with Dolby and Freebox that as well. But our membership is basically mentoring, helping us with. The other project was the.
So you sort of indicated that if we had an idea, you present it to them and they help us
and lobbying.
Work through it.
Definitely works. Last year's one, what we got for those dollars was actually a series of workshops with small businesses within the
Are they well attended?
Sorry?
Are they well attended?
Yes, we had the one last year that Burton sold, gone with that as well, and we had a few guest speakers at that, had it out at Explorers, probably about few of the councillors were there, we would be possibly 50, 60 people, so. Pretty well.
There might have been 100.
Yeah, it's quite well attended, the explorers there, so.
Councillor Burkett.
You finished, Councillor Taylor?
Yeah.
Through you, Mr Mayor, just on Councillor Taylor's, with those projects, how many, is there a limit, like for that, if there's an X amount, if you go up a certain stage, you go to the next tier of money, or?
Yeah, and that's, yeah, right.
So the base level is the 20,000 plus GST, and some of the big things we did last year was that also the taste of the West, a lot of mentoring for individual businesses and things. So what they've come with is the additional opportunities, so if we spend more money, and they've got the price tags on this. So like supply chain audits, so determining what our businesses, how they can get their goods from here through to market. So a lot of audits try and determine our shortfalls and then improve those shortfalls. So that kind of price tag is a $20,000 project if they would consider offering them. Simplifying planning and development policies. So looking at our economic development policies and really determining where we're going to get the best benefit and actually implement those, like getting traction on some of our policies. So that's a big one that they think that we could work, and that's a $15,000 price tag on that. Coordinating the economic development advisory group. So getting in our region all our really key economic development producers and really the people that are creating the greatest momentum, getting them together and getting a group to try and flush out where our great economic development policies and projects can come from, assisting us with that. So there's a $10,000 one there. And then a virtual incubator, which we're also doing work with BDP as well, and that's trying to, people with great ideas, trying to get them in front of the right people to be able to get those ideas to fruition, and there it's $15,000. So the number 2 that we took out was we need to determine which of those are our priorities that we want to do for the next year, and that's where the additional money would go.
So if us around the room come up with a couple of projects, we
yeah,
And they'll be able to give us a price on that. Bruce gave us a few examples of the Dolby one there where the councillors actually had some ideas and projects that they want to pursue, and they can go away and give us a price on that as well. So.
Sounds good.
Just going on from that, so the 20 grand is just a membership fee, is that it?
Yeah.
membership, but we do get benefits from that as well.
So those mentoring programs they ran last year with small businesses in Maranoa, that's part of the membership there.
I think it's value for money.
It is, particularly with obviously the rest of the area covers the Western Downs Toowoomba area as well. We're on the fringe of that community at the table.
Thanks.
Righto, we have a mover and a second. Does anyone else wish to speak? Councillor O'Neill.
Thanks very much, Mr Mayor. The membership of the Toowoomba Surat Basin Enterprise predates my involvement on council, so we've been a member ever since I've been part of MRC, and you know, the basis of which this group was formed was about driving the economic development of the broader Surat Basin, which we are firmly part of in our little part of the state. What I'm pleased to see over the last nearly 9 years that I've been watching the Toowoomba Surat Basin Enterprise, they've evolved. They've evolved from just supporting businesses that were largely indirectly and directly involved with the CSG industry in the Surat Basin, to now including their agricultural arm being Food Leaders Australia, which I think our region will greatly benefit from. And I look forward to a future report coming back to Council to consider where we can continue to value add to our partnership with TSBE and leverage what they've been able to build from what was a very small organisation at least 9 years ago, but I think they've been around now for nearly 12 to what they are today. And so I'll heartily support our membership. I do think it's value for money, and I strongly urge my fellow councillors to support this membership for the coming 12 months.
Does anyone else wish to speak? We'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. Page 217. Council for successful application of community drought support. Councillor Mullen.
Mr Mayor, I'd like to move that one, the council authorise the chief executive officer or delegate to sign funding agreements as required. 2, offer the 5 community group events listed in the application an equal share of the successful funding amount offered.
Okay, do we have a seconder?
I just would like to speak to it, Mr.
Sure.
Mayor. I've just got a bit of an amendment if council would be happy. I just note that the groups listed in the report, I would just like to suggest that for Surat, that it is the Surat Christmas Carnival. Surat Christmas Carnival has been supported by drought funding before for quite a few years. The reason why I would change it from the Surat Camp Drive to the Surat Christmas Carnival is the fact that the Surat Christmas Carnival is like the other community events listed, where it's a wider community, and how it's been spent in the past with the Christmas Carnivals for Surat is the wider community come and the community group provide free entertainment for the children, so that the parents can come out for the night, not be putting their hands in their pocket all night with the free rides and entertainment for the children. And I just feel that it is an event that actually benefits the whole of the community rather than just a selection of the community. Whilst if we had a lot of money in previous years, we would definitely be handing it out to the Surat Camp Drive, or potentially we'll be handing it out to Surat Camp Drive. But I just feel for this year, to get the most bang for the limited dollars we have for the drought funding this year, for a whole community, Surat Christmas Carnival would be the more appropriate event in Surat to support the drought funding.
So you're proposing
An amendment.
Mr Mayor, I'll stand correcting, but these were applications, weren't they?
So previously, no, the community didn't apply. That was from an officer's recommendation. And previously we have been able to, council has sort of changed where the money was allocated throughout the region to fit the most appropriate event.
Okay, through you, Mr. Can I ask also, it just says equal share, but it's not financially equal, is it?
Yeah, it is. Sure.
53222.
No. That's what they asked for, Councillor Burkett, but when you work out the 6,000, my taking it was $6,900 to be divided.
I see, yes.
That's the way I take it.
So they get 1,380 each.
well, it just depends whether the movers
Well,
have to accept.
so we didn't receive applications from anyone.
This is Lyndon Lord.
No,
That's how long the go goes back.
Sorry?
Through you, Mr Mayor, Lyndon Lord. Come up with the actual
okay.
the proposed project, so it does go back a little while ago.
So through you, Mr Mayor, to answer that question, Councillor McMullen, I would imagine that Melinda has drawn those clubs from previous events that we had supported, because in the past, as Councillor Hancock said, there was a lot more money. We were giving money to groups around the entire region in all of the outlying hamlet areas as well, and that when it was put up, maybe there wasn't that thinking that when they came to be reviewed, that the bucket of money was going to be as small as it was.
Okay, thank you. Mr Mayor, I'd be happy to accept the amendment with the, what was the group you said, sorry?
Surat Christmas Carnival.
With the addition of the Surat Christmas Carnival to the list that's already there.
Would you have to say omit the Surat Camp Drive?
No, I would accept it if we add it to, does that make sense? Am I making sense?
How do they fund it?
Sorry?
How do you fund it?
Well, it's saying, it says equal. You've got to take the number of people and divide into 6,900.
Oh, so you're not removing one?
No, just adding a 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, a 6 dot point or a dip.
So you're going to give 2 lots of funding to a Surat community and 1 to the rest of the community.
Yeah, that's what I think. Is that correct?
Yeah, I didn't think that.
So just another one, just question through this man. Some of these won't be going ahead, so they can do whatever they want with that money. Like some of these events might not necessarily go ahead due to COVID.
Through you, Mr Mayor, Councillor Burgett, we'd have to look at what the end date was for the spend of funding. So I would imagine that we may be able to ask for this to be held over until next year.
Yeah, or if one of them, say the Indian, want to plant trees or whatever, they can spend it on that, obviously it goes towards it.
No. There's criteria for this funding and with your drought community, and so you can't just spend it however
So
it has to be.
So just talking about this, Joe, you want to replace one and put another one in there?
So my recommendation, just to be fair around the region, would be to remove Surat Camp Draft and include Surat Christmas Carnival.
They'd be a little bit upset about that.
Well, I actually don't. Surat Camp Draft's actually not going ahead as well. I know that for a fact. But whilst I'm sure any community organisation would be a bit upset they didn't get the funding, our job sitting around the table is where is that best funding, where's the bang for the buck? By having it at the Surat Christmas Carnival, our Surat Camp Draft members attend the Surat Christmas Carnival, and their children, and so they would then still be getting the benefit of the funding along with the rest of the community.
Maybe add that in there just to any confusion in replace of due to the event not going ahead?
Well, I have a question. When is the funding got to be used up?
We don't know.
Mr Mayor, I can't answer that question in the preparation of the report, but I can definitely find that out.
Well, I move to lay this on the table till later in the meeting.
Can you just, before we go past, can you remove the hyphen between the five and the community group?
Oh, yeah.
Thanks.
So the due date's within 28 days after 31st of December.
Yeah, it's there.
28 days after December,
Yeah, who's been thanks to?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, I'll move that. All those in favour of going to the vote
Why are we laying on the table, Mr
to
Mayor?
get more information.
Oh, what information?
The actual last date that it can be used.
Within 28 days after
Excuse me, we've gone to the vote. We've got to either vote for or against it.
Sorry, Mr Mayor,
Yeah.
point of order, you've asked for
More information.
which is included in the report.
Well, not necessarily, but we can talk to the department, find out if there's any flexibility.
Oh, right, so you want to know if there's flexibility around the date?
Yeah,
That's information you're seeking.
yeah, correct. Because in COVID, there's been a lot of flexibility from government departments, so.
We'll have to vote, I can't do it now.
Anyway, so we'll go to the vote. All those in laying it on the table till later in the meeting, all those against? Councillor Carroll, which one?
Yes, I do.
Four. Four. Okay, so that's 7-2 on full for division. Thank you. Yep. Did you want to say anything?
Well, I did, but can I still say something on that? Yeah?
You've laid it on the table.
Yeah, that's right. It'll come out later, that's fine.
Okay, moving on, 13.5. Maranoa Livability Strategy. I'd like to move that council notes the Maranoa Livability Strategy 2020 and two, request a future report to enable seeking the views of council on the direction to go for economic development and attraction strategies.
I'm just not sure about the word enable. I just don't know if it's clear in
I'm
our,
happy to change that word,
just further report.
Just to
Seek council views, maybe? Like,
happy with that.
We had a few community groups ask to visit over in the Chamber of Commerce, that obviously kind of gives board planning as well, for work with some of that.
Yeah.
Will we release the record or we just going to?
I'd be happy as long as we're not adopting it as what we're saying. You know?
Could release the consultation.
Release the consultation, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm happy to do
Because
that.
we could put it on to have it say. So, in that case, could we just make point 1 note and then point 2 release the strategy onto the USA platform to seek community views. Have your say platform. To see. To see community input.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that.
And then that request of further report for council to consider.
I just wonder, Mr Mayor, if I can provide a contribution here. Maybe number 3 doesn't need to happen just yet, because you're noting the livability strategy, you're making it public, you're putting it out to for consultation, community feedback, similar to what we've done with the budget, and we've got a report later. That will come back to council, and so that will inform the next steps thereafter. The staff aren't going to know what to do in terms of bringing back a report for us to consider until number 2's completed, which we need to see first.
Yeah, I'm happy to remove number 3.
And then just add that council at the front.
Just read this again for everyone's benefit.
And then we don't need to make it public at the end.
is it to seek community feedback instead of input?
To see community
Feedback?
Well, what about responses even?
And the other one is, can we say release the strategy via, or I guess it onto the?
Yeah, via
I would say via.
Yeah, I'm happy.
Via the, yeah.
and make it public. If point 1 doesn't need to be there, if we're released it.
Councillor O'Neill, I take point 2. I'm wondering if just to seek community feedback and the results we brought back to council might achieve what the mayor was seeking before, just the results we brought back to each meeting with council.
Okay, I'll just read this again. That council note the Maranoa. That number 1, note the Maranoa Livability Strategy 2020. And number 2, release the strategy via the Have Your Say platform to seek community feedback and the results brought back to a future meeting of council. We have a second to Councillor O'Neill. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0.
No, it's not.
There's more in that white
There is
paper.
more.
351.
So, item 14.1, telecommunications in the Maranoa. I'd like to remove that a report be prepared for an upcoming council meeting. Can we have a seconder? Councillor Walker.
What was the resolution, sorry?
That a report be prepared for an upcoming council meeting. And I might just add to that, in light of the briefing held yesterday.
So what do you envisage we have?
Well, we had a request yesterday, which was about opportunities for extra telecommunications from a company. So that could be in the report with whatever else about when the council wants to get involved with some, with those opportunities.
What was the time frame for him yesterday?
Friday.
26th of August or something like
Yeah, he
that.
was
It's
one
Friday,
right close
yeah.
this Friday.
But it's probably, unless we want to move something today in principle support, can we do that, CEO? Or?
I just don't know, Mr Mayor, is there budget implications for council, or what's involved? Like, is there multiple people that would, I'm just mindful that when this goes to an officer, they're not going to know what it is that council is seeking from the report, because telecommunications is a very broad topic.
Mayor, can I suggest we lay this on the table later in the meeting and then you'll formulate what needs to be considered?
Yeah, I'm happy to do that.
I'll move it later on the table.
All those in favour?
I move that.
Yeah, councillor O'Neill definitely moved that, and it was 9-0 as far as I could see. Okay.
Who's the second? Oh, sorry, it's procedural. Yeah, that's right.
14.2, Surat Flying Foxes.
Mr Mayor, I move that a report be prepared for an upcoming council meeting. I would like a report to be tabled at the meeting to discuss 1, what has happened previously in regards to the flying foxes in Surat. 2, what is happening this year, anytime from September, regarding the flying foxes. 3, developing a plan for the future to move the flying foxes on from the Surat town water inlet.
We have a seconder. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak?
I seconded that.
Just to say, Mr Mayor, that this is a very real concern with Surat residents. They have been dealing with this for many years, and I think that we as council need to come up with a plan, and if we need to get support for that plan, we need to do that. Otherwise we'll be sitting here in 4 years' time still wondering what we're going to do about the flying foxes in Surat.
Okay, we're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0.
Get a break there.
Yeah, what time is it? 11 o'clock? Yeah, good idea. We'll just adjourn. Okay, we might resume. Is there a conflict?
Yes, thanks, Mr Mayor. I, Councillor Joanne Hancock, declare that I have a perceived conflict of interest as defined by the Local Government Act 2009, Section 175D and E for agenda item LC1, with the subject heading Roma Saleyards Operations. The personal interest arises because of my relationship with another person. The name of the other person is Stephen Hancock. The nature of my relationship with this person is he is my brother-in-law. The nature of the other person's interest in the matter is he is manager of Nutrien Mitchell. I have determined that this personal interest is not of sufficient significance that it will lead me to making a decision on the matter that is contrary to the public interest. I will best perform my responsibility of serving the overall public interest of the whole of the council area by participating in the discussion and voting on the matter. However, I acknowledge that the remaining councillors must now determine, pursuant to section 175E4 of the Local Government Act 2009, A, whether I have a real conflict of interest in this matter or a perceived conflict of interest in this matter, and B, if so, whether 1, I must leave the meeting while this matter is discussed or voted on, or 2, I may participate in the meeting in relation to the matter, including by voting on the matter.
Okay, does anyone want to move on that one? Councillor Taylor.
I move that Councillor Hancock does not have either a real conflict of interest or perceived conflict of interest in the matter, and is accordingly free to participate in the meeting while this matter is discussed, including by voting on the matter.
Okay, do we have a seconder for that motion? Councillor McMullen. So you don't think there's not even any perceived there?
Doesn't have a,
Option 3.
Does not have either a real conflict of interest or perceived conflict of interest? Oh, I gotta say all the other, oh.
No, I was just wondering whether it might be perceived, but you can deal with it inside the fact.
Councillor Taylor, have a look at option 3.
Oh, sorry.
That's what I was saying.
Oh, okay. Option 3 says it has a real. On the right page?
Or perceived.
No, it's oh, sorry, okay, do you want me to start again?
Oh, if you'd like to.
Sorry, that Councillor Hancock does not have a perceived conflict of interest in the matter. She does have a conflict. No.
So just option 3, if that was what you were thinking, it reads that Councillor Hancock has a perceived conflict of interest in the matter, and notwithstanding that conflict.
Oh, sorry. Okay. So Councillor Hancock has a perceived conflict of interest in the matter, and notwithstanding the conflict, Councillor Hancock may participate in the matter, discuss and vote upon. Am I right now?
Yep, I think that sounds good.
Just be like me,
I'll second it.
We have a seconder. All those in favour?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, you're sorry, but it's changed.
Yeah, whatever.
Are you happy? Oh,
Yeah. Okay, so we'll just go over that again. So it's move by Councillor Taylor. Now, you happy, Councillor McMullen?
Yeah, no, not a problem.
It has changed.
Yeah.
And have we got the wording up there? Just when you're ready.
Mr. Mayor, normally the ladies, they fix that bit up after.
Yeah, right. Okay, no one wishes to speak, no opposition, we're going to the vote. All those in favour, 8-0. Okay, we finished that point.
I'll move we go into committee.
Yes, Councillor O'Neill.
Close the meeting to the public.
Close the meeting. You happy with that?
I'll move that we go into committee and close the meeting to the public.
No, we don't need to. We have to fix that up each time. So we close the meeting to the public.
So what should the resolution be now to go into a closed session of council?
So we close the meeting to the public.
That's the wording that we need to use. I move that we close the meeting to the public.
Okay, do we have a seconder? Councillor Burkett, any opposition?
To consider the schedule of closed, confidential items for the reasons listed.
You happy with that, Councillor O'Neill?
We're just going to tidy that up going forward.
I am for this particular moment, yes.
So from moving forward, is
So
that
hang on, that's why I said for this particular moment.
And then, are you happy?
Yeah,
Second
I'm
that?
happy if everyone's happy.
Okay, no opposition, we're going to the vote, all those in favour? 9-0.
I, Councillor Mark Edwards, declare that I have a perceived conflict of interest as defined by the Local Government Act 2009, Section 175D and E for agenda item C2. With the subject heading application through Regional Arts Development Fund, RADF program, second round. The personal interest arises because of my relationship with another person. The name of the other person is Wendy Henning, committee member is Wendy Henning. Nature of my relationship with this person is my second cousin's wife. The nature of the other person's interest in the matter is Wendy Henning is a member of the RADF committee. I have determined that this personal interest is not of sufficient significance that it will lead me to make a decision on the matter. As contrary to public interest, I will best perform my responsibility of serving the overall public interest of the whole of the council area by participating in the discussion and voting on the matter. However, I acknowledge that the remaining councillors must now determine pursuant to Section 175E for the Local Government Act 2009. Whether I have a real conflict of interest in this matter or a perceived conflict of interest in this matter, and B, if so, whether I must leave the meeting while this matter is discussed and voted on, or 2, I may participate in the meeting in relation to the matter, including by voting on the matter.
We have a mover. Councillor Hancock.
I move that Councillor Edwards has a perceived conflict of interest in the matter, and notwithstanding the conflict, Councillor Edwards may participate in the matter, discuss and vote upon it.
Okay, we have a second, Councillor Guthrie. Any opposition? Anyone wishing to speak? We're going to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0. I move we go into.
Open the meeting to the public. Close the meeting.
I'd like to close the meeting to the general public to discuss the remaining items on the closed agenda.
You actually, there's a little laminate sheet that we can see on.
Okay, do we have a seconder? Councillor O'Neill. Any opposition? Go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0.
LC8, subject heading update on flood mitigation matter.
LCA.
Yeah, it's wrong in the paper. Do I have a mover? Councillor O'Neill.
I'll move that Council, through the Chief Executive Officer, authorise Council's legal representative to progress a response in accordance with items 1 to 4 of the report, based on the higher amount following the provision of additional information to councillors.
Councillor Guthrie, seconder.
Happy to.
Any opposition to the motion? Anyone wanting to speak for or against? Okay, no questions. I'll put it to the vote then. All those in favour? 8-0.
So we go.
Calvin, the mayor wants back. What's easier to stay on?
We're out now.
Right at the beginning,
We're in open.
not the late ones.
Yes, sorry.
Okay.
What are we going, late 1?
No, late confidentials. What?
So LC1,
Oh.
okay? Let's do that.
We've got to go back to,
There's only three.
Oh, late open, is it?
Late open, yeah.
You want to do the open first?
Late, yeah. Leave- And then these guys can go as well.
Yeah.
just Mr Mayor, that one you were out for, we finished with it, we've gone and dealt with it.
So which is easier for
No, she's got red L1, L1.
Late, open.
late open? Righto.
We do have the option available by telephone.
Oh, that's it.
L1, Council Christmas and New Year closure 2020-2021. I was just listening to a comment there.
Joe's,
Someone-
sorry.
So I've just got one question. This is the same as last year? Or do we have to,
The dates are different.
but I mean, the same amount? I noticed there that Yuba continue table one, right. Okay, does anyone wish to move on this? Councillor Hancock.
I'll move that Council 1, approve the closure of the Yulbar Services Centre on the gazetted public holidays only. All other business days will operate as usual. 2, approve the annual Christmas and New Year closure for Council's administration officers, Roma, Surratt, June and Mitchell, and non-essential community services as per option 1, with closure from close of business Wednesday 23rd December 2020 and reopening Monday 4 January 2021. 3, approve the annual Christmas and New Year closures for Council's libraries in Roma, Surratt, June and Mitchell as per option 1, from close of business Wednesday 23 December 2020 and reopening Monday 4 January 2021. 4, approve the annual Christmas and New Year closures for Council's libraries in Jackson, Wallabilla and Munkalala from Thursday 24 December 2020 to reopening Monday 11 January 2021. 5, approve the annual Christmas close down for the Infrastructure Services Directorate, Department of Maintenance, Delivery and Works from Monday 21 December 2020 to Friday 8th January 2021 inclusive. 6, approve the annual Christmas close down for the Infrastructure Services Directorate, Department of Materials Production, Quarry and Quarry Pits from 21 December 2020 to Friday 1 January 2021 inclusive. 7, approve the annual Christmas close down for the Infrastructure Services Directorate, Department of Construction from Thursday 23rd December 2020 to Friday 1st January 2021 inclusive. 8, approve the annual Christmas close down for the Infrastructure Services Directorate, Department of Water, Sewerage and Gas from Thursday 23 December 2020 to Friday 1st January 2021 inclusive. 9, authorise the Chief Executive Officer to communicate the annual Christmas and New Year closures and annual Christmas close down to council employees, customers, residents and the general public. Now, I just had, there just wasn't a day.
Okay, we have a seconder. Councillor Burkett, any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak?
Mr Mayor, just in number 6, it was just missing the day, which is why I paused, so it's from Monday 21 December. I just checked what that day was.
Righto.
Just to keep it in line as everything else.
Righto. No one else wish to speak? We'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. Item L2, WQAC Memorandum of Agreement. We have a mover.
Mr Mayor, I'm happy to move.
Please go ahead.
I'd like to move that the council endorse the proposed alliance charter through a memorandum of agreement.
We have a seconder, Councillor Edwards. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. L3, monthly financial reports as at 31st of July 2020. We have a mover. Councillor Edwards.
Move that the monthly financial report for the period ending 31st July 2020 be received and noted.
We have a seconder, Councillor Ladbroke. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. L4, proposed merger of South West Local Government Association, SWLGA, and South West Regional Economic Development, South West Red. Do we have a mover?
Yes.
Councillor Guthrie.
I'd like to move, as per the letter received from the Balonne Shire Council that was distributed to all councils, that one, a report be prepared, that the report prepared by Mr. Greg Hoffman on behalf of the SWQLGA be received and noted, and two, that the recommendations contained in the report be adopted. So this was the letter that was actually sent to all of us, dated the 14th of the 8th, which was the resolution that we were asked that all of the 6 South West councils use as part of their to be adopted at their meetings. Yeah. So it's a common set of wording that all of the councils have used.
I'm happy for that to happen, Councillor Guthrie, but we do need to then also confirm the funding for our draft budget.
Okay. I'd also then like to say number 3, that we incorporate the additional funding in the draft 2020-21 budget to accommodate an increase in the annual subscription and contribution from 22,500 to 50,000. And I'd also like to add number 4, that Council recommended the proposed South West ROC consider the inclusion of a part-time independent chairperson, as well as a part-time executive officer, as given as part of their operating model.
I'll second that.
Brittany, do you want me to say it again?
Councillor has written down something, but it would be good if you could. Yeah. Thank you.
Recommend that the proposed South West ROC consider the inclusion of a part-time independent chairperson, as well as the proposed part-time executive officer, as part of their operating model.
If I can just offer by way of comment that the 5 councils have voted unanimously for the report as presented. So there was not a single vote against the recommendations as outlined in the report.
I did hear that one council has only given in principle support, they haven't committed yet.
No, I did ring around all of the councils yesterday to see what the vote was, and all of them were unanimous.
Must have notified the mayor.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a mover and a second. Do we have any opposition to the motion?
Mr. Mayor, can I ask that you deal with the matters individually, please?
Brittany, there will need to be a change to 1 and 2.
Yeah, I know, but
Could Councillor Guthrie just read those out?
Okay. Number 1, that the report prepared by Mr. Greg Hoffman on behalf of the SWQLGA be received and noted. And number 2, that the recommendations contained in the report be adopted.
Slowly, quickly, because 4 persons trying to type. And just for clarification, Greg Hoffman, the report was actually it was Greg Hoffman through the grassroots.
That's correct.
Australia, so it was one and the same. And the second.
The second one is that the recommendations contained in the report be adopted.
So that one won't make sense for council.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to.
And the reason why I'm using that wording is that is actually the wording that was adopted by the other 5 councils, as per the email that we received.
Except for number 4.
That's correct, but I was actually at the Southwest Red meeting, and that was the conversation that was being held around the room. So there was conversation at that particular time in Charleville back in May.
Yeah, but things have moved on from my understanding since then, and all have just adopted it in accordance with those two items.
Which is why I've got the words consider.
Mayor, if I can ask again, if you can deal with the matters individually, please.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. Okay, so we put the first point number 1. We have a mover and a seconder. Any opposition?
Who was the second?
You?
The mayor was the seconder.
Okay.
I think that the SWLGA.
SWQ LGA.
Okay, any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak to it? We're going to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. Point number 2. Okay, any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak to it?
Is point number 2 and point number 4 going to be in opposition to each other?
No, because the next, number 4 is about considering, it's not about, it's the adoption, number 2 is about adopting something.
But was the adoption of the report, it wasn't considering the model that you're asking to be considered? That model isn't what the report is putting forward.
So Councillor Guthrie, would you accept an addition, because I believe this is crucial to being able to deliver this. Could 2 and 4 be put together so we could test whether whether an independent chair is supported by council?
Well, you're going to do that at point 4.
Yeah, but what Councillor Hancock's saying, they might be in conflict with each other.
So what was asked to be moved is 1 and 2.
Yeah. And what I'm actually sharing with people is the fact that when we were in Charleville, prior to the report being written, what was actually floated as an idea and the discussions that we had with the 2 people who were leading the discussions, the report was then provided to us with a number of different options with the recommendation that we go with a particular structure, which is what we're doing in number 1 and number 2. My number 4 is simply saying that should this be adopted, which I'm sure it will if 5 other councils have adopted it, that when they get together they start to consider not just the part-time executive officer, which has been written in the report, but also consider a part-time independent chair.
Okay, I'm happy with that, Mr Mayor. Thanks for that clarification.
I share your concern, Councillor Hancock, in that potentially 2 and 4 are in conflict.
But it's about considering something extra.
I think perhaps the inclusion of the word later, consider, because at least it gets the new entity up and running and then it can later consider the inclusion of that.
I'm happy to put the word later in as a recommendation to consider.
Because it's almost like a second step. Let it get up and running in accordance with how where we've got unanimous support with 5 councils so far. Let's be a united region, let's start on the right foot, and then if that's something that you want the group to consider as a supplementary step or a later step, then that way it's not in conflict.
I'm happy to modify it.
Just a question to the mover, Councillor Guthrie. My recollection of the recommendations that were tabled in that report included the employment of a part-time executive officer or chief executive officer.
Yes.
They're already in the recommendations.
And when you look at the recommendations, it's about seeking external funding to support that and to enable that to occur, so that's not a given. And there'd be a difference between the role of having that person would be almost an administrative officer. This I'm looking at would be a chair, an independent chair.
Yeah, sorry, you've just got independent chair and a part-time chief executive officer.
Yeah, so the part-time the part-time, it's not a chief executive officer, it's only an executive officer.
But the model does include the...
That's my point, it's already included in the recommendations.
For a point, but only for a partial role.
Yeah.
And it may be that the independent chair, I mean, that will be a determination that the newly formed ROC will make those sort of decisions.
The reason I ask is that we're doubling up on the executive officer, it's included in the recommendations. If that is supported when the mayor puts point 2 in a moment, that's already covered.
Can you put as included in the...
Well, it's redundant.
It's redundant. I think the point of difference that Councillor Guthrie is raising is really around the independent chair. It's not about the executive officer.
Because it's included in the recommendation.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. And there's also the recommendation for an administrative officer or for an additional person to be funded externally, which may or may not get up once the new ROC is actually established.
That's the project officer.
That's correct.
Yeah, but I think this will still keep your intent, Councillor Guthrie, to later consider the inclusion of a part-time independent chair as part of their removing the word time.
So if it's going to be part-time, it will need to be as a part-time independent chair and get rid of the other part-time.
And that just becomes as part of their
operating model. Yeah. As part of their proposed operating model?
No, as part of their operating, because at this time they'll already be set up.
Yeah.
And then they'll already be operating.
Because it's the later one.
And just for completeness, 3 and 4 have now been switched for some reason. The original motion had point 3 at point 4 and point 4 at 3. Somehow they've swapped.
Yeah, no, when you talked about combining the 2 at one stage.
Yeah.
So just to go back to the original motion, you'll have to make point 3 number 4.
So they're still going to be voted individually, or you have
Yes. That's the original motion, well, how it was set out originally.
What are we up to voting?
2.
Voting for 2.
Okay, any opposition on 2? Anyone wish to speak? We go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. Point 3. Do we have any opposition to point 3? Does anyone need to read out so everyone can see it? Okay, does anyone wish to speak to it? We'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. And then point 4. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak to it?
I'm happy to say that I went to the South West Red meeting knowing very little about their purpose, etc., and much of the discussions were about the proposal to amalgamate and to consolidate as an advocacy model, and a lot of the discussions there were about how best practice could be put into place, and I would think that what I'm suggesting here is a worth considering once the Southwest Rock gets up and operating.
Okay, Councillor O'Neill, would you like to speak against the motion?
I wholeheartedly support the merger of these two entities. It's been on the cards for a number of years. There's been a lot of passionate elected representatives, that are still currently elected representatives, and some former elected representatives that have attempted to bring these two organisations together in the past. And I am really pleased to see that it is coming to fruition. From my perspective, I think Council needs to fully support this, and I think that's what we're doing by supporting the resolution that Councillor Guthrie has put forward for 1 and 3. I don't believe there should be an independent chair of a body that is made up of the 6 councils from the southwest. I think our communities have spoken to who they wish to represent us, or represent them in terms of our local councils for the next 4 years, and it's now up to us through our mayor, which will be the representative on the Southwest Rock, as to who would chair this body for the next 4 years. The model in which is being considered has been rolled out across the state in other regional organisations as councils, where those boards have directors made up of the mayors, and they elect one of those mayors to lead that organisation over the term of council. I don't see us being any different. I think the cost of employing an independent chair, because there would be a cost associated with getting someone to chair this body, and the work that would need to be done to advocate for issues that aren't bound by the geographies of our councils. And I think the most appropriate person will be a mayor that comes from one of the 6 shires. In fact, Mayor Golder may himself nominate to be the chair of the new Southwest Rock. So I don't support us advocating for this need. If there is merit behind something like this, it will be considered by the board of the new Southwest Regional Organisation of councils, and I'm sure that will be considered in the years to come. But this is a fledgling step in terms of bringing us all together to be a strong voice for the Southwest, and therefore I believe it should be an elected representative from one of the 6 shires to be the chair.
Okay, would anyone like to speak for the motion? I'll speak for the motion. Well, I definitely believe that to give this organisation the best chance of success, I believe it needs to have an independent chair. As far as voting rights, the 6 mayors would have full control of the organisation, but the independent chair, I believe, needs to be on the ground. And as we see in the report, that the recommendation is to have a remote or an external executive officer, and I believe that probably one of the best organisations is the Rapid organisation that's been brought up, and that is driven locally, driven by a chief executive officer or a CEO locally. So with this being a different model, I believe that the people of the Maranoa want to see money well spent, and having someone that drives that. All the mayors have responsibilities in their own areas, and having an independent chair that's responsible for driving the organisation all in the 6 shires, I believe, is the best way to get value for money. Otherwise, I believe the community can say this is just another talk fest, and obviously this recommendation to change is based on the disappointment on how things have gone in the past, and I believe that this organisation may be in a situation, it may not be a long-term thing if it cannot deliver on the ground. So an independent chair, I believe, gives the best chance for this to work, so that's why I'm certainly supporting this motion. Would anyone wish to speak against the motion?
I'd just like to make a comment,
You're
Mr. Mayor.
quite welcome.
I just don't think you can get any more local than our local mayor. I don't think you can get any more person passionate than our local mayor. So my concern with this is that this part-time independent chair, they might not even be in our region. That someone from out of the region might apply. So as for local and passion for Southwest region, I don't see anyone more fit for the job than the mayors who represent our region and come together as one to be a force. That's my concern. I think it would be best to be one of those passionate local mayors.
Okay, would anyone wish to speak? Well, where were we? Basically, for the motion. Does anyone wish to speak? Then does the mover wish to sum up?
I just think that there's been long discussions about what could happen and how the amalgamation could take place. I think that we did receive the report that had 4 different options available. I think it's a great thing to go forward to, and I think we need to set it up for success with the best possible structures that can be established to enable it to be meeting all the goals as they have been espoused.
Okay, so on that note, we'll go to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? 7-2 if I can call for it. Okay, moving on to L5.
Yeah.
Is there an L5 or we finished?
That's finished, that one.
Right, okay, good. Okay, we're back on to
What steps to start with?
I can see one.
C1. C1, you happy with that, Brendan?
Yep.
Yep, thank you.
Mr Mayor, I just ask that you adjourn the meeting, given that we've got councillors leaving until we've got...
I'm going to stay a bit longer, sorry.
Oh, I just saw you
Just send
packing
them
up.
I'm just packing up. I just sent them a text so we're 20 minutes late. So.
Okay, L1, Roma Sayards Operations.
Yeah, that's done. C1.
C1. Oh, C1, aren't we? Yeah, right, okay.
You go. You go.
C1, request for a fee waiver and sponsorship for Variety, the children's charity of Queensland 2020. We have Councillor Hancock.
I move that Council 1 waive the fees for Bassett Park Hall, Bar, Marquee and camping for the Variety Bash in Roma on 10 November 2020, estimated to be $2,816, with the amount to be allocated from the in-kind major budget GL 2887.2248.2001. 2, waive the fees for Mitchell Showgrounds and camping for the Variety Bash in Mitchell on 11 November 2020, estimated to be $850.10, with the amount to be allocated from the in-kind major budget GL 2887.2248.2001. 3, decline the request for support in cash and advise in writing, clarifying payment for the bond is the responsibility of the Variety Bash, no reimbursement to be sought from the PNC Association.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor McMullen. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. Okay, moving on to C2, page 15. Applications through Regional Arts Development Fund, RADF program, second round. We have a mover. Councillor McMullen.
Mr Mayor, I'll move that Council 1 endorse the Regional Arts Development Fund, RADF, Committee's grant assessment recommendations for applications received under Round 2 of 2019-20. 2, approve the Regional Arts Development Fund, RADF, Committee's recommendation to allocate $6,000 plus GST as part of the 2020-2021 RADF Strategic Initiative to host the Opera Queensland event in the Maranoa region on 5th of June 2021. 3, foreshadow receipt of a notice of proposed amendment to Resolution GM-03.2020-12, specifically in relation to Condition 4.
We have a seconder? Councillor Ladbrook. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. I'd like to move that we change the order of business and move that LC6 be the next order of business.
LC6.
We have, we need a seconder. We have a seconder for that. That's the budget. Councillor Edwards.
Where are we? LC6.
LC6, this is the budget. Community consultation on draft budget 2021 in the lake. So we're going to go to the vote.
Are we just moving so that everyone is here for that, Mr Mayor? Is that
Yes,
we're
correct.
changing it?
51.
59. In the lake.
Feedback.
Yeah, which is page 59, but we've just got to move, so I have moved, Councillor Edwards has seconded it. Is that the right wording? We're going to vote on changing the
order
to
LC6.
To LC6, making that next. All those in favour?
And sorry, is there a seconder for that?
Yes, Councillor Edwards.
Oh.
Okay, that's 9-0. Okay, so LC6, page 59, we're doing now. Feedback on community consultation on the draft budget 2020-2021. I would like to move that council receive and note the feedback. Actually, that 1, council receive and note the feedback. 2, the budget submissions and financial planning terms of reference be updated to include the following paragraph. Final amendments. The CEO or delegate is authorised to make any final amendments to the budget documents that are considered appropriate as part of finalisation process. To remove any doubt, the amendments do not need to have been considered formally at the BSFPSC meeting, which is the
budget submissions and financial planning.
Yeah, which is the budget submissions and financial planning standing committee meeting. But if considered appropriate, may be informally circulated by email to councillors. And 3, the budget submissions and financial planning terms of reference be updated to highlight below.
As highlighted below.
As highlighted below.
And it's just inserting the word no in front of material personal interests.
Note or no?
No.
No.
Yeah. And if you don't mind, Mr Mayor, we'll just put it as part of the finalisation process in that first sentence. Now, so Director Sharon's just. Mr Mayor, is it all right if we put a point Lily that we provide both an interim and a response to those people who have taken the time to provide the feedback.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Interim and both interim and full response.
An interim and individual response.
Provide an interim acknowledgement and appreciation for those people, for those residents who took time to respond. And a more detailed who took the opportunity, who took the time to provide feedback. And then full stop, and then further that an individual response be prepared for each once the budget documents are finalised. Once the budget has been adopted. And then take out the documents. So
Yeah, I'll read that. Point 4, or 4, provide an interim acknowledgement and appreciation for those residents who took the time to provide feedback. Further, that an individual response be prepared for each once the budget has been adopted. Okay, does everyone understand what we're voting on? Okay, I've moved that. Is there a seconder? Councillor Guthrie. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0.
Righto, so
C3.
C3. C3, request for sponsorship, Roma District to Stedford 2020. Do we have a mover? Councillor Burkett.
I move that Council 1 provide a further $2,500 for an adjudicator to come and provide performance opportunities for our vocal and instrumental artists to support the Roma District of Stedford to be held on the 14th to the 16th of October 2020. 2, allocate funds from the Regional Arts Development Fund, RADF budget, GL 2885.2250.2001.
Okay, we have a seconder, Councillor Hancock. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0.
Mr Mayor, I'm going to have to be excused, please.
Okay.
I'm going to have to be excused too, please.
Sure,
Mr.
we'll
Mayor.
just adjourn for a second. Allow that to happen. COVID-19 leased cafes and car hire companies. Do we have a mover? Councillor Taylor.
That Council, in reference to the National Cabinet Mandatory Code of Conduct for the SME commercial leasing principles during COVID-19, contact the lessees/managers of council commercial cafe spaces, caravan parks, hibernian hall users and car hire companies to ascertain the degree of financial hardship suffered due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and a report be provided to the next council meeting for further consideration.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Edwards. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 7-0.
43.
C5, Clearview Rise Roma transfer of land to council. Do we have a mover? Councillor Hancock.
I move that council authorise the chief executive officer or delegate to sign necessary documentation to facilitate the transfer of land ownership of property described as Lot 1 on SP3 16830 to Maranoa Regional Council.
Okay, we have a seconder, Councillor O'Neill. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak to it? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 7-0. C6, State Government Surplus Properties, Maranoa Region. I would like to move that Council note the Government Land Register report for the period 6th of July 2020 to 13th of July 2020. And number 2, ask the State Government about potential use and purchase price. We have a seconder. Any opposition?
Mayor, I'll just ask that you deal with them separately, please.
Okay, we will. So this is on the first one, which is note the government land report for the period of 6th of July, 13th of July 2020. We have a mover and seconder. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 7-0. And then we're going to the second one to ask the state government about potential use and purchase price. Anyone wish to speak? Is there any opposition? Councillor O'Neill. Well, I'll speak to it. I believe this is an opportunity perhaps for another park in town. We have densely populated areas and this is an opportunity to ask the question. You never know the answer until you ask the question and share the vision that council may or may not have in the future. So I think this is a great thing for the people of the Maranoa to support council being proactive. Would you like to speak against the motion? Okay. Does anyone else wish to speak? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? 6-1 if I can call for a division. Moving on to C7, page 64. C7, Bendermere Pony Club. Do we have a mover? Councillor Hancock.
The council as trustee for the land described as Lot 47 on WB 1371 grant approval for the shipping container to be sited at the grounds in accordance with the terms of the trustee lease, subject to all building applications being approved.
We have a seconder. Councillor Taylor. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 7-0. C8, page 72, Roma Swimming Pool request to amend agreement conditions. Do we have a mover? I'd like to move that Council 1 decline Roma Pool Manager's request to abolish seasonal and multi-pass tickets. Multiple pass tickets due to the number of community members who purchase this type of pool entry. Support the manager adopting a buy at your own risk model for all seasonal and multiple pass tickets in consideration of the current COVID-19 business climate the manager is operating in. And 3, maintain the original approved Roma pool opening hours being Monday 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. and 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Tuesday
6:30 p.m.
I'll do that again. Monday 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. and 3 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Tuesday, 5 AM to 8 AM and 10 AM to 6:30 PM. Wednesday, 5 AM to 8 AM and 10 AM to 6:30 PM. Thursday, 5 AM to 8 AM and 10 AM to 5:30 PM. Friday, 5 AM to 8 AM and 10 AM till 6:30 PM. Saturday, 10 AM to 6 PM. Sunday, 10 AM till 6 PM. Explore with the current manager her preference for the timing of the tender release and opportunities with printing of the season passes. Okay, do we have a seconder for that motion? Councillor Ladbroke. Do we have any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak?
Sir, I've got a question.
Sure.
Release, timing of the tender release and opportunities for printing of the season passes. What opportunities? Whose opportunities? Her opportunities?
No,
Council's opportunities?
It's council's opportunities.
Well, you probably need to specify that.
Well, no, I'm happy to put in council's opportunities.
I know.
Of printing
Yes.
the season passes.
Yeah.
Is it effectively saying that you want to pay for it, Mr. Mayor?
We might be able to do it. It was raised as an issue and we might be able to do it.
Yeah, the officers might just get a bit confused with what does opportunities.
Yeah, opportunities I think might be the wrong word. I understand what you're trying to say, Mr. Mayor. I'm just thinking,
Sorry, and a report be tabled on an upcoming council meeting on the costs of council printing the season passes.
Yeah, but it might be a photocopy job. But anyway, we're happy to have a report.
Is it right, you can just laminate them?
And is it council funding
Yeah, or doing it,
the?
because it's our facility.
Printing the season, okay.
Right, is the seconder happy with that, councillor Ladbroke? Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 7-0. C9, page 80 is planning consultancy services. Do we have a mover? Councillor Edwards.
I'll move that council authorise the chief executive officer to enter into an agreement with Quilter Shire Council to provide town planning services in accordance with the terms defined in the agreement presented with a commencement date of 1 July 2020.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor O'Neill. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to the vote. All those in favour? 7-0. C10, page 92. Deed of variation, crush the cactus project. Do we have a mover? Councillor Burke.
I move the council authorise the chief executive officer to complete the deed of variation between the Federal Department of Agriculture, Water and the Environment and the Maranoa Regional Council under its Communities Combating Pests and Weeds during the drought program for Maranoa's Crush the Cactus project.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Hancock was first. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 7-0. C11, page 100. Request for a reduced trading terms. Do we have a mover? Councillor Taylor.
The council approve the request for reduction of trading terms from 28 days to 14 days for any invoices submitted by creditor 14220.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Ladbroke. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 7-0. Page 106. C12, request for reduced trading terms. Councillor Ladbroke.
That council approve the request for reduction of trading terms from 28 days to 14 days for any invoices submitted by creditor 10695.01.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Hancock. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to the vote. All those in favour? So that's 7-0.
Oh, there's a calculator.
C13. Page 111. C13, tender 20027, supply, storage and delivery of chemicals for swimming pool treatment, drinking water treatment and sewerage treatment. We have some information.
Yes, we do. The managers just asked that the second last one on the table be removed as well. Please.
What page?
Page 146.
Oh, hang on. That's a different one.
So, sorry.
It's been a long day.
Sorry.
I was going to say, it's only
Sorry. You're on C, which one are you on?
We're on C13.
Oh, okay, so
111.
one head.
You're in a hurry.
Apologies.
Righto, do we have a mover? Councillor O'Neill.
I'll move that Council 1 select the following suppliers as the recommended suppliers for the supply, storage and delivery of chemicals for swimming pool treatment, drinking water and sewage treatment for their applicable separable portions. Now I'm going to read all of them, can't imagine. Tender Coogee QCA Proprietary Limited. The separable portion is sodium hydrochloride bulk, 3 year. The period is 3 year plus 2 times 1 year extensions. Also for the same tenderer, sodium hydrochloride IBC 1000 litre for a period of 1 year. Tender Aroma Home Improvement Centre, the sodium hypochlorite. Have I been saying that wrong the whole time? No. Oh. IBC 1000 litre for 1 year. Sodium hypochlorite, any size below IBC, all other chemicals for 1 year. Tender Mitchell Hardware and Plumbing, all other chemicals for Mitchell facilities requirements, period for 1 year. 2, authorise the Chief Executive Officer or Delegate to enter into final negotiations with the recommended suppliers and form a contract to supply the goods if the final terms are acceptable.
Okay, we have a seconder.
Just add there's 2 extensions in the first one.
Right.
It's there, I said it.
Yeah, it was just 2 by 1 year extension.
Oh, what did I say?
Extension.
Oh, I thought I said yes. I'll go back and listen to that just to make sure.
Okay, we've got the seconder is Councillor Burkett.
This time of the night.
Any opposition? I'll speak in opposition. Does the mover wish to speak? Anyone wish to speak? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? 6-1 if I can put that in. Righto, moving on to C14, page 143.
That's where you're at.
Register of sole supplier arrangements. Director, do you have something for us?
Yes, on page 146, the second last line in the table, could that be removed, please?
So what was that again, sorry?
Page 146, towards the top.
146, yeah?
Yep, the second last supplier,
Is removed.
yes.
And just for clarity, if I can, the ones that I raised earlier, they've been removed.
Yes.
It's in open
Do
there.
we, yeah, do we have to read that whole table out?
I did have to on that other one.
Yeah, but you can have the slide there.
There's got to be a way around that. No one is going to have to do that tonight, surely.
Yeah, but it's not, you only got to do the supplier, haven't you? So it's not fair.
You don't have to do that.
Yeah,
Right.
that might be a good way around, Mr Mayor. If you as chair are happy just to read out the suppliers and then we use the.
Or the mover read it out.
This is fine.
Use the scope.
You can't publish the text.
Mayor, I'll move. I'll move that Council 1 approve the formation of sole supply arrangements with the following entities pursuant to section 235A of the Local Government Regulation 2012. As Council is satisfied that there is only one supplier reasonably available to provide the goods services listed. 2, authorise appropriately delegated staff to form a small size and medium sized contractual arrangements, i.e. less than 200,000 exclusive of GST, with the listed entities in the event that Council's requirements are consistent with the scope of the sole supplier arrangements listed. And I just wonder on the fly, I'm going to say, and 3, ensure the business owners and community of the Maranoa that we will review this on a regular basis.
Keep the list updated.
No, is your intention for it to be an annual review or?
I think in the first instance, I'm going to say 6 monthly.
Righto.
And those suppliers are, I'm going to read it from there, Airport Lining Specialists Proprietary Limited, Airways Engineering Services Proprietary Limited, Australian Airports Association, Aztec Australian Proprietary Limited, Australasian Performing Rights Association, APRA AMCOS, AFDATA Proprietary Limited, Body Corporate for Lander number 4 CTS, Boral, Cardiac Science Australia Proprietary Limited, Civica Proprietary Limited, Chubb Fire and Security Proprietary Limited, Coogee Chemicals, L-Pro Technologies, Ergon Energy, Glide Path Australia Proprietary Limited, Hastings Steerings Australia Limited, Harvey Black Group Proprietary Limited, ATF and HFB Unit Trust trading as Black Truck Sales, Hitachi Construction Machinery Australia Proprietary Limited, Humes IXOM, Komatsu Australia Proprietary Limited, Maranoa Locksmiths, Martin Security Systems, MedEquip Proprietary Limited, Midwest Rural Trades, Mounts Machinery Proprietary Limited. Is that it? Ormi Tech, Pool Works Proprietary Limited. I'll have to get my eyes tested as well. Pitney Bowes Australia Proprietary Limited. Position Partners Proprietary Limited. QR Limited, Queensland Rail. Real Estate Institute of Queensland, REIQ Realworks. RDO Equipment Proprietary Limited. Roma Communications. Roma Firefighting Equipment, Roma Security, Statewide One Services and Supplies Proprietary Limited, Ski Data Australasia Proprietary Limited, Smart Tech Australia, Smiths Detection Australia Proprietary Limited, Telstra Corporation Limited, the Trust of the Moore Family Trust trading as West Tech Systems, Wormold Australia Proprietary Limited, Exilum Australia. That's it.
The other one. And I think it might be a typo in the Midwest Rural Traders, not
You want
trade.
councillor Neil to read all that again, just to...
Oh yes, yeah, sorry, Midwest Rural Traders.
Traders,
Yep.
yeah, and just, in point 2, delegate staff to form small-sized and medium-sized without the A that was added in there, because there's multiple arrangements. It wasn't in yours, Brittany, but Councillor O'Neill read out the A, so we'll just.
Did I add an A? Did I?
You added an A.
Oh, yeah. Before medium sized.
No, before A, small sized.
I'm sorry, councillor Neil, can I just confirm the word?
But yours is right, Brittany.
Yeah, just on that point 3.
Oh, ensure, and point 3, ensure the business owners, and I think I said, and residents of the Maranoa, that we will review this list initially on a 6-monthly basis. They may not be quite the words I said earlier, but that's intent.
You actually want the review to happen, so the instruction to the staff is that we
recommend.
A review of the list be conducted on a 6-monthly basis to provide assurance to the business owners and residents.
That's correct.
Yeah, can we just swap it
Yeah,
around?
that's fine. I'll just make sure we don't miss anyone.
Yeah, so Brittany, just point 3 is that we undertake a review
On a
of the
6 months.
list. List, initially on a 6-monthly basis. To provide assurance to the business owners and residents of the Maranoa. Are you happy with that, Councillor O'Neill?
I am happy with that.
You have to say sole supply relationship or not.
A review of the good idea, Councillor Edwards. Review of the sole supplier list.
Just a quick question, you know, like, we had Roman printers crossed out and that, what?
So.
Yeah, so,
Why
they weren't read out when Councillor.
Yes.
So, Councillor Ladbroke, we can't discuss that now unless you want to go into committee.
Okay, so is the mover happy with that, as it is up on the screen?
Yes, I am.
Do we have a seconder for that motion? Councillor Burkett. Any opposition? I'll speak in opposition. Does anyone wish to speak to the motion? Yeah, I'm certainly not comfortable with, about this list, and I will not be supporting it on that basis. No one else wishes to speak. We're going to the vote.
So, Mr. Mayor, I've got a question. Can you share what you're not comfortable with, just so I fully understand?
I'm not comfortable that they are sole supplier. They are truly sole suppliers, and I would have to be more comfortable about that before I vote for it.
Thank you.
Okay, no one else wishes to speak. We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? 5-2, if I can call for a division. Okay, moving on. C15, page 154. Australian Energy Regulator update, expectations of energy business protecting customers and the market during COVID-19.
I'll give it a crack.
I'm just wondering, do we need the rest, or do we just say we comply with all their expectations? No, it's up to you, Councillor Hancock.
Oh, I'm happy to get CEO's advice. Read the recommendation as.
If the chair is happy to 1 to 9 as listed.
Righto.
But entirely up to you.
Never, not that I want to prolong this meeting, but that would be inconsistent in how we approach this.
Sure.
Okay. And if that was the case, I wouldn't have just done what I did.
Okay.
No, but what I mean is everyone knows what the expectations are of the Australian energy retailers COVID-19 plan, because it's.
We'd be in number 6 now if we could.
And Councillor O'Neill, probably a little bit more sensitive with the sole supply one too, because council has to do that by resolution.
I'd like to hear them all read out before.
Okay, please go ahead, Councillor Hancock.
That council comply with all expectations of the Australian energy retailer, including 1. Offer payment arrangements to any customer, business or domestic, who indicates they may be in financial stress, and be prepared to modify the arrangement in line with the customer's circumstances. This may include a period of non-payment or a payment date extension. 2. Do not disconnect any customer, business or domestic, for non-payment who may be in financial stress that A. has made contact with council or responded to communications from council, or B. is accessing any retailer support. 3. Issue a letter reminding customers of what assistance is available to customers with unpaid accounts. 4. Assist domestic customers affected by the current health crisis. Apply for a HEEAS claim. 5. Allow disconnections for non-payment after all communication attempts fail, including written letters, phone calls, text messages, and in-person property visits. 6. Reconnect immediately and without charge once contact is made by the account holder and a payment plan has been agreed upon and or a HEEAS application has commenced. 7. No referrals to council's external debt collection agency. 8. Remove all minimum charges for small businesses that have temporarily ceased operation, only charging consumption. 9. Review AER expectations on 31 October 2020.
Okay, we have a mover.
I'll second that.
I think this is nearly exactly the same as what we did a few months ago, which is interesting. Okay, do we have any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 7-0. C16, page 170. Request for change of date for Nutrient Ag Solutions fundraiser, Royal Flying Doctor Service. I move that council approve the date change for Tuesday, 8th of September 2020. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Ladbrook. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to the vote. All those in favour? 7-0. Okay, moving on to C17. Page 175, and funding agreement between Australian Veterinary Association Limited, AVA, and Maranoa Regional Council for delivery of annual pet and people education program in 2021. And I'll just note that Councillor Guthrie has left the building. Does anyone wish to speak to move? Councillor O'Neill.
I'll move the council approve the Chief Executive Officer to sign the agreement.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Ladbrook. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to...
Sorry, do you want a delegate?
Sorry?
Should it be CEO or delegate?
No, that's fine. I'm happy to sign it tomorrow.
Okay, we have a mover, we have a seconder, no one wishes to speak. We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 7-0. C18, page 184. Flood mitigation for Amby. I'd like to move that a report be prepared for an upcoming council meeting. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Burkett. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to the vote. All those in favour? 7-0. C19, delegated authority for the Chief Executive Officer to sign DTMR, deed of indemnity for the installation of a reservoir at Mitchell Bore 3. Councillor Burkett.
No, just need to pull it together. Really. We don't need to.
Please go ahead, Councillor Burkett.
I'd like to move that council authorise the Chief Executive Officer or delegate to sign the deed of indemnity attached to the application of Department of Transport and Main Roads for the installation of reservoir at Mitchell Moore 3.
We have a seconder. Councillor Edwards, any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to the vote. All those in favour? 7-0. We're on to late.
Pretty late.
Righto, LC1. Roma Sayard's operations.
No, I'm getting out. Well, you're moving very quickly now.
Home straight.
When did you know it's still a move? We didn't know.
We have to, we're on wood, aren't we?
LC1, Roma Sayard.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we're right.
Just got enough. Roma Sayard operations. Do we have a mover? Councillor Hancock.
I move that council receive and note the report.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Edwards, any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to the vote. All those in favour? 5-0. Just enough. Okay. Yes, thank you.
They're not seeing anything, are they?
You were councillors wanting some correspondence to go back.
Well, I did wonder that, but in lieu of the meeting that's going to happen,
Let it run its course and then.
Okay.
maybe after that we can do some formal correspondence.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, page 35. We're just waiting.
Look.
Quick resolution for an hour and a half conversation.
That's something you really, what was written on me, you didn't have to leave the room.
Councillor Taylor still here?
Yes, she won't be a moment, you're right.
Until that time coming through that door.
Well, can the door, but he's probably at the car.
Okay, page 35, LC3, Queensland Local Government Grants Commission allocation for the financial assistance grant for 2021 and change to draft 2020-2021 budget. Councillor Edwards.
I'd like to move that Council 1 note the information provided in the report. 2, incorporate the required changes to the final draft 2020-21 budget.
I'll second that. Is there any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We'll go to the vote. All those in favour, 7-0. Page 41, LC4, Yulbar Community School Zone Improvements. Do we have a mover? Councillor Hancock.
I'll move that Council 1 approve the installation of 2 new enhanced school zone signs on Perry Street, Yulbar, with capital funding for the supplied installation to be provided by Santos GLNG. 2, approve the ongoing cost for monitoring of the site to be assigned to the road safety operations budget. 3, note the request for the installation of additional pedestrian crossings in the town and that an investigation is commenced into this request. 4, be presented with the subsequent report once the assessment of additional pedestrian facilities in Yulbar are finalised.
We have a second, Councillor Hancock, Councillor Ladbroke. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to the vote. All those in favour? 7-0. LC5, Christmas and New Year closure 2020-2021, Roma Waste Facility. I'd like to move that.
change it.
Yeah, I definitely know what I'd like to add. And should be option 2.
Yes.
It's on the screen.
Hold on, screen there for you.
Righto, is that option 2?
This one's option 2, yeah.
Okay, number 1, approve the annual Christmas and New Year closures for Council's Roma Waste Facility as outlined in option 2 of this report being closed 25th of December 2020 and 1 January 2021. Council provide 2 15-metre skip bins placed at the Roma Waste Facility on the Thursday the 24th of December 2020 and emptied on Saturday the 26th of December 2020 and then moved inside facility to be replaced outside on the 31st of December 2020 and emptied on and removed on January 2, 2021. And removed on January 2, 2021. And 2, authorise the Chief Executive Officer to communicate the Roma Waste Facility arrangements to Council, employees, customers, residents and the general public.
Double check that the end of the first sentence makes sense.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
That's what it's in. Yeah, that was the reports option.
So it's not to be replaced, it's to be placed. It's nearly a full stop and then
moved inside the facility,
full stop, and that's to be placed outside on and emptied and removed.
You could, after that skips, be placed outside again on the 31st of December and emptied and removed on the 2nd. Okay, do we have a seconder for that motion? Is that, it was just modified at the bottom there, the skips we place outside again. I'll read that again. Approve the annual Christmas and New Year closures for Council Roma Waste Facilities as outlined in option 2 of this report being closed 25th of December 2020 and 1 January 2021. Council approves 2 15-metre... No, Council provide 2 15-metre skip bins placed at the Roma Waste Facility on Thursday 24th of December 2020 and emptied on Saturday 26th of December 2020 and then moved inside the facility. The skips to be placed outside again on the 31st of December 2020 and emptied and removed on 2nd of January 2021.
Sorry, just moved inside the facility, that's obviously on the Monday.
Yeah.
The next day. Should you have to put that there or not?
Work it out. Right, are you happy with that?
Just for continuity, Brittany, half of it's got the 24th, and then down below it's like 31, so it should be 31st, 2nd. Mr. Mayor did say the 31st and he did say the 2nd, so.
He actually said January.
Yeah, but he actually did say, because I was, just for the continuity, and first up on 1 January.
Righto. So we've got a seconder for that motion.
Yes, I'm happy to second it.
Councillor O'Neill, any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 7-0. Okay, do we have any more on that one?
LC 7.
79, thank you. LC 7, request for donation of Salyards levies. Do we have a mover? Councillor Burkett.
I'd like to move that the council propose an annual charity sale day event and work up a proposal initially with the Royal Flying Doctor Service.
We have a seconder. Councillor Edwards, any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak?
Mr Mayor, I just want to double check that correspondence will be received. We've received correspondence from RFDS, so out of this resolution, there'll be a letter going back.
Sorry, Brittany.
And councillor Burkett said that the council will just, if you're okay with it, that council.
Yeah.
Well, would you be happy to put in there that this be, correspondence being sent?
Yep. You want to do it as a second board or? No, that'll be right.
I don't mind, if that
No,
is not the normal procedure, we don't have to include it, but I just wanted to.
Well, we got to answer it
That
anyway.
question, we will write that.
Yeah, so it's normal procedure, so.
Does the mover happy with that?
Yeah, no, we're going to, so we don't have to put that in there.
Well, you could.
No,
If you want to.
No, I'm happy.
Oh, I think it would be good. I think it would be good to put it in there. It's up to you, but you'll move it.
Okay. You want me to read that out again?
Finish.
RFDS, is that what you?
And forward correspondence to RFDS. Maybe it might actually even be cleaner if we say the council proposes an annual charity sale day event and write to the Royal Flying Doctor Service, inviting them to work with council on a proposal.
I'll definitely have to read that one again.
Yep.
Proposal, delete the rest of it.
Okay, I'd like to move that council propose an annual charity sale day event and write to the RFDS, inviting them to work with council on a proposal.
We have a seconder? Oh, you did. And you're happy with that, Councillor Edwards?
The only question that I have, initially council had the word, initially could to potentially make it to others. I need to work with council.
Initially with.
On an initial proposal.
Oh, no, that's it, yeah.
On an initial
That's
proposal.
perfect.
You did it again, Councillor Burkett.
No, I don't think it's
That's
It's good.
Right. Anyone wish to speak? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 7-0.
Go.
So which is the next one?
C 84.
84, thank you. LC8, user agreement, Bassett Park facilities. Oh, we'll just wait for Councillor Ladbrook to leave the room. LC8, user agreement, Bassett Park facilities. Do we have a mover? Councillor Hancock.
I'll move that council endorse the draft letter as amended and authorise its finalisation and forwarding as a matter of practice.
We have a seconder. Councillor Taylor. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 6-0.
Haven't we done, what about LC nine?
No, we did.
Oh, yeah.
What was the one on the table?
Yeah, it was community.
Drought funding one, councillor, you asked me to double check the spend date on that drought funding.
The other issue.
That was the one, the drought funding, the drought funding. It's in the open. Page 217, 13.4, drought funding. Community drought support.
240.
It's just the one that's walking the table from earlier.
It was the one that I was querying.
Councillor, page 217, 13.4, white.
Oh, you can share one.
Rob, is this going to be dealt with today?
Councillor Joseph, I've confirmed with the department that it's got to be acquitted by 31st of December 2021. If there is if we do allocate that funding and there is cancellations in those events early in the year, the council can reallocate it, which is notified the department. So you can go with those recommendations. If those events are cancelled, you'll know early in the year we can reallocate it to those committees for other events.
Mayor, I'll move that this lays on the table until the next ordinary meeting of council.
All those in favour? 7-0. Any other business, councillors?
Yeah, you said.
Is that the flood mitigation?
No, we done it.
It was done, I think.
Done it, we haven't done it.
We did, LC, the last one there, Wendy.
First up.
Remember, that's the one that.
Jeff.
Okay, any other business, councillors?
No.
If not, I will close.
Hang on.
Telecommunications in Maranoa.
Oh, yeah, Mr.
You
Mayor.
were going to work
up
up a resolution. That's why we laid it on the table, mate.
Yeah.
Have you worked it up?
Can we lay
In
that
light of our budget. I'm happy to move something. I would like to move that council give in principle support to the proposal from Pivotal for a Maranoa telecommunications project and provide this in writing.
Are you adding that, Mayor Golder, to the original, that a report be prepared for
No,
upcoming?
I'm just going to this is crucial for time, that we have to tell them something because they've got by the 20 something, and I think we can actually extend do this. Yeah, well, I think it's not probably a cover. You know what I mean?
So then you can't give him principal support.
Yeah, we can, but it's
Not
either
financial.
with financial, which is better, or without.
Will you say that we've got to be clear? I can't vote on something where.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, so the council giving principal support for the proposal, without committing.
Telecommunications project.
Financial support.
Yeah, and then just without financial commitment.
With no financial commitment.
Yeah, with no, at this stage, but it might come back, at this stage. But, like, a lot of things got to be firmed up and it may change, but.
I think that may mean something. May mean something.
It has to be the
Yeah.
Are we?
Okay, so I've moved that council give in principle support to the proposal of Pivotel for a Maranoa telecommunications project with no financial commitment from Maranoa Regional Council at this stage, and provide the letter of support immediately.
Tonight, no.
As a matter of priority.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, it's a matter of priority. You got a second for that, councillor Edwards?
No, I've already seconded.
Oh, councillor Burkett, have you already done it?
Yeah, I knew you were going to word that, so I was
Okay, we're all clear on what we're voting on? Any opposition, no one wishing to speak, all those in favour? 7-0. Is there any further business, councillors? We'll close the meeting before everyone leaves the room. 7:41 PM.